Welcome to day 19 of the 28-day photo challenge. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of editing by taking panoramic photos. Now most phones have some kind of software that'll automatically stitch this together for you, but I'm going to show you everything that you need to do to take a panorama photo with essentially any camera.
I ran all the way up the hill. It sucks. Anyway, now the biggest thing for this is I want to have the exact same exposure through all of it. So I'm going to put it on manual. I'm going to be moving the camera, so I'm going to step up the shutter speed to about 1/100th of a second. Now the exposure meter is saying that I'm underexposed, so I'm going to compensate that with the ISO, and I'm going to turn that up to 200. Now it's saying that the exposure is perfect. Now I'm going to keep it on manual focus, and I'm going to want to rack the focus to pretty much infinity, so I want everything in the distance to be in focus. Now I'm going to flip the camera vertical. I want to pretty much get from that tree line all the way over to these trees here. Just gonna make sure I'm still focused in, and I want to make sure that the camera is on a single photo. Now right here at those little trees is where it ends, so what I want to do is move that to the center of the frame, so that way the frames are always overlapping each other. And now we're at the trees to finish it off. Now we have all of the shots that we need. When my fat makes it all the way back down that hill, I'll see you again on the computer, and we'll stitch all of these together with software to make a giant panorama of the entire view. Now the reason I shot vertical instead of horizontal is because of the height. This would make a really long photo, whereas this is gonna make one that's a little bit taller, because we're creating the width, but we're not creating the height. Now we could go back and we could shoot this again, but put the trees right at the very bottom to get tons of negative space, and then we could stitch the entire thing together as two panoramas. But that's getting into a little bit more complex situation. I'm just trying to keep it fairly simple for now. So now I gotta make it back down this stupid hill. Oh, Jesus.
Now that we're here at the computer, we have Photoshop open. I'm using Photoshop CS6. This is 13.1.2, 64-bit extended version. This is the last one that is available that you can actually buy before Adobe decided to go to that stupid subscription program, so that way you never actually own any software and you have to pay for it for the rest of your life. Now, if you're interested in getting this version, you can find them on eBay for about 300 bucks. I've never had any issues with it. I've never needed more from it. So it's just worth putting out there. Now we're gonna go to File up in the top left corner. I'm gonna go to Automate, and then we're gonna go down here to Photo Merge. That's gonna open up this tool right here, which is for creating panoramas. Now we can click Browse. You can click the first picture of this panorama, go all the way down to the bottom, hold Shift on the keyboard and click the last picture. So now every single picture in here is highlighted. We can click OK. And now in this list here are all of the pictures that we have for that panorama. Now, if you're shooting really wide, you can leave this toggle down here off, but I was zoomed in at 70, so there is a little bit of vignette from the lens, so I am going to do vignette removal. Actually, no, I'm going to leave this off just so you can see why we should check this. Now, I'm just going to leave everything auto for now, and I'm just going to let it do its thing. We're going to click OK, and now we're just going to give this a minute. It's going to take a little bit longer than normal because I am screen recording at the same time, so it's also taking a little bit away from the CPU. And if you have a slower computer, this is going to take significantly longer than it is in this video. So now you can see that it's aligning the layers. There we are. Now it's blending selected layers. So it's blended them all together, and now it's just stitching it. And you can see right here, we have it perfectly stitched together. Now these little outlines right here, where it's showing what from each layer is selected, when you zoom in, those actually go away. They're not actually in the picture. Actually, if we zoom in a fair amount more, if I scroll sideways fairly quick, you'll be able to see the banding. They're vertical lines right here. So we have like one line right here, here, here. Here's another one right here. That's the vignette from the lens that's being blended in with it. So if we use that vignette removal, it'll attempt to remove all of those dark patches. But other than that, it came out pretty good. Now I'm just going to zoom out. I'm going to go to the marquee tool, which it's already on. And I'm just going to highlight from one corner. I'm just going to go all the way over just to keep it really simple. And I'm going to line up the vertical line with this corner right here and the horizontal line with the lowest point, which seems to be right here. That's lined up pretty good. Now I'm just going to go to Image, and I'm going to go down to Crop. Now it's removed all of that. I can do it from the other side. And again, up to Image, down to Crop, and that right there is our panorama. Now you can see we have a nice panorama. There's still the vertical bars from the vignette of the lens, but that's because I didn't check that option. We can just do some light color correction, and then you'll see the final picture come up on the screen right now. I raised the exposure, I dropped the highlights down, and just color correction, and I cropped it in just a little bit more. So that's pretty much all there is to it. You just have to make sure that you hold the camera in portrait, so that way you have more range from left to the right side of the sensor by holding it in a portrait position, so that way you have from the bottom to the top of the frame with more space, because you're stitching the closer together top and bottom of the sensor, which is the left and right when in portrait mode, and you can take more shots to stitch them all together. Now, this is just a quick example, so I could have taken significantly more shots in between and it would have been much, much clearer. I could also even go another step and take multiple panoramas in rows. So I could have done one of the sky, one of the horizon, and then one of the ground, and then stitch all three of those together all in a giant segment. Then you can just create ridiculous megapixel pictures with that. But that's completely out of the scope of this video. Right now, we're just doing panoramas, and they're very easy. It's a really fun thing to get into. And you can get some pretty interesting shots. Like, we got this entire area in here that even zoomed out all the way at 24, I still wouldn't have been able to capture the entire thing. So hopefully you got something out of this. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, or don't do any of it. I'm not telling you what to do.